Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining this particular demo. Now let me start this particular demo. So what before starting our demo session, let me go through with our details, what we are right, all those stuff. So let me just go through with this particular training, which I'm starting from 28th of June. So in this training, basically I'm starting your Palo Alto Firewall. It's a basics to advanced level training. This particular batch I'm starting from 28th of June. Timing for this particular batch is 4 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. IST, and it's a weekends batch. So your classes will happen Saturday and Sunday. Duration of this particular Palo Alto Firewall training is 9 weekends. So I can say 9 to 10 weekends. So this is the training details. The training fees for this particular Palo Alto Firewall training is 7,000 for Indian students and 150 USD for international students. So that is the fees details. Regarding CNET, let me just go through with some details. So this is our video portal from where you will get the access of our recordings. Recorded sessions will be provided here with the lifetime access. Here you will able to see multiple recorded sessions on Palo Alto Firewall, Panorama, Palo Alto Advanced Tech Troubleshooting, F5 LTM, GTM, ASM, AWS, Azure, Cisco, SD-WAN, Biptela, Wireshark. We have a n number of trainings here, so you can able to check out those trainings. So this is the link for our basically purpose, and we have this particular link learn.cnets.com/courses. Here basically this is the link for all the students. So when you will basically enroll for this particular training or whatever we have we used to also provide these recorded sessions. If you will enroll for recorded session, this is the link from where you will basically access that particular training. This is our website where you can able to get our details, what we are and other stuff. This is our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@hemu-sir. If you will get into this particular CNETs channel, you will able to see n number of videos on Palo Alto Firewall, Panorama, Palo Alto Advanced Troubleshooting, Wireshark, F5 LTM, GTM, ASM, Cisco Biptela. Even though if you will go into this playlist section, I have a multiple playlist here. Even though you will get couple of free videos as well, like on FortiGate Firewall checkpoint, you will get a TCP/IP interview questions with answers. You will get the lab setup series which Ram was asking, right? So this is the series where you will get everything. Cisco Biptela, here you will able to build the lab. You will get the basic knowledge on the Cisco Biptela SD-WAN, right? And here, so those are the multiple videos we have here in this particular channel. Another YouTube channel which is like Inspirational Academy. Here you will get the videos on F5 LTM, GTM, ASM, Wireshark, Palo Alto Firewall, Panorama, like n number of videos are there. Azure, AWS, all those type of videos available into those channels. Those two channels belong to us. This is our website and this is our video portal. So these are basically the details which are belongs to us. Now let me just tell you what are the things I'm going to cover in this particular training. So basically this particular training, it's around 54 plus hours of training. You will get the lifetime interview support. So if you have any type of interview, you have to reach out to us. We will take your interview whenever your interview is scheduled, right? You can reach out to us 2-3 days before. So we will take your interview and we will tell you what are the things you have to prepare. You will get the documents after this particular training, which is referred by me during the sessions. You will get the lifetime access of recorded sessions. So each session we will record and that particular recording will be provided to you through a video portal with lifetime access. Lab setup. Regarding the lab, basically we will help you building the lab in your laptop and also in the Google Cloud. Now, to build a lab in your laptop, you need a laptop with minimum of 16 GB RAM for Palo Alto. If you are not having a laptop with 16 GB RAM, in that case, we will help you building the same lab over the Google Cloud platforms, over the GCP. GCP, basically, when you will subscribe for Google Cloud, they will give you 300 USD as a free credit for 90 days. So what we used to do, we used to basically rent out a server on Google with 32 GB RAM and 4 virtual CPU. And what we used to install EVNG on top of that. So that lab basically you can utilize for 90 days. After 90 days period, you can destroy this current account, create a new Google account, and just you will get the 300 USD again for the lab purpose. And after that, you can build the lab, and again your lab is valid for 90 days. So that's how you can basically get the support on the labs. It's a weekends batch, as I have mentioned. During the sessions, we can have a discussion with regards to your issues which you are facing in your organization, or if you are facing any issue during the labs, right? All those things we can have a great discussion during the class timing. We can also take the mock interview with every student whenever you need it. You can let us know. We will basically schedule a call with you for the mock interview. Now, let me go through with the course content which I am going to cover in this particular training. Okay. Guys, I'll take all of your questions in the Q&A session. Okay. So whatever questions you were asking in the chat, I'll take it after this particular demo in the Q&A. Okay. Now, when I'll start this particular training, so in the day one, basically, I generally start with the very basic, like we will discuss what is firewall, what is stateful inspection, what is the difference between next generation firewall and the legacy firewall, what is stateless firewall. Like I will start your classes from those particular topics. Then we will go through with the platform and architecture. In platform, basically I'll cover what are the hardware models offered by the Palo Alto, what are the virtual appliance which is offered by the Palo Alto, what are the firewalls we are having for which we can run as a Docker images, which is your FCN devices, right? All those stuffs I'm going to cover in your platform section. In the architecture section, I'll go through with this SP3, which is single pass software and parallel processing hardware, this SP3 architecture. And guys, in your 90% interviews, they will ask what is the SP3 architecture. In 90% in the interview, they will ask what is the packet flow of Palo Alto Firewall, what is the flow logic in your Palo Alto Firewall, or life of a packet in your Palo Alto Firewall, life of a session in your Palo Alto Firewall, right? So I will discuss all those particular topics in your day one. Then I will basically, after that, I'll move further and I will start how we can basically do the initial configuration in your Palo Alto Firewall. Initial configuration means how we can able to configure the management settings in your Palo Alto Firewall, which includes how we can configure the IP address, net mask, default gateway, DNS settings, NTP setting, SMTP settings, administrator account, permitted IPs, right? All those stuffs include in the initial configuration. And before initial configuration, I will explain you how you can take the access of your firewall. Let's suppose you have a hardware appliance. Then now you want to take the access. How you can take the access? What is the options is available? The very best option, we can take the console access, right? If you do not want to take the console access, then you can connect one cable with the management port and another part of your RJ45 cable with your PC, and you can access this particular device using the IP address, which is the default IP 192.161.1, which is by default configured in your Palo Alto Firewall, and the default username and password, which is admin. You can enter and you will basically get the access. right? So we will discuss how you can connect. Let's suppose you have connected your management port with one of the switch, right? And let's say you have connected with the wrong port at the switch, and then how you can troubleshoot all those things, right? So all those things I will basically cover in your initial configuration and the initial access of this particular device in those particular topics. Once those topic will be over, I will basically go into the configuration management. In configuration management, basically I will cover your configuration related stuff, how you can revert the configuration, how you can take the backup, how you can import the configuration, how you can export the configuration, how you can take the backup, right? All those stuffs I will discuss in your configuration management. What is running configuration in your in your Palo Alto firewall, right? Like what type of configuration we are having at the data plane, what type of configuration we are having at the management plane, right? All those things I am going to cover in this particular topic. In the same topic, we will discuss what is commit. What is commit phases? Like we have a commit phase 0, phase 1, phase 2, right? All those commit related stuff we will discuss. What is auto commit, what is commit force, all those particular things I will discuss in your configuration management topic. Then I'll move towards your licensing. We will discuss what type of licensing offered by the Palo Alto Firewall. What type of license we are having in your Palo Alto Firewall? What is threat prevention license? What is DNS security license? What is Global Protect Gateway and Portal license, right? What is wildfire license? All those license related details we will discuss. Then we will discuss the software updates. Means if you want to upgrade your Palo Alto firewall or you want to downgrade your Palo Alto firewall, what is the process? How you can basically perform those tasks? What is the software manager daemon basically available? SWM daemon available in your Palo Alto file, how we can track the software updates, right? What is the sys root 0 volume or disk? What is the sys root 1 volume, right? What type of images will be available there? All those stuffs we will discuss in your software updates. At the same point, basically, I will also discuss your dynamic updates. Dynamic updates includes your signature database for antivirus, for vulnerabilities, for spywares, right? How we can do the scheduling of those dynamic updates, how we can download those dynamic updates, how we can install those dynamic updates, right? All those things we are going to discuss. Let me just give you some glimpse of it. So let me just log in on my devices. So I do have a hardware firewall, guys. So I will also explore the stuff using my hardware firewall. I have a hardware Palo Alto PF440 device, and I have a switches as well, which is the hardware switches. So we can basically connect different interfaces and all, and you will get the real feel how things works in the production environment. So I'm just logging on this device. So like I am talking about those stuff. Let me just go here. It's loading. Do not show again. Close. Go into your device tab. I'll go through with all those steps basically in your classes. Then I was talking about those software updates. Here. So in case of license, we will basically see the license details. Like these are the CLI commands. We can check the license details and all, right? We can also basically check the updates. This is for the configuration. What is the candidate configuration? What is the running configuration? All those things we will discuss here. Request. We can check the dynamic updates for, let's suppose, for content. Upgrade, like let's suppose we want to check just the info, so we can basically perform the information request software info. Here we will get the software related information like this page. I'm not sure why it's not loading. Okay, let me go into the dynamic updates here. So you can see here I have done the scheduling. What is the best practice to achieve that particular scheduling and all, right? We will do all those schedulings. Here I will discuss the licensing part, how we can activate those license. I will basically show you the support portal overview and all as well in your classes. Right? What type, what is SD-WAN license, virtual system license, PAN-DB URL filtering, advanced wildfire, all those license details we will discuss. I'm surprised why this tab is not loading. But here you can able to check like those are the versions which are available right now, and this is the one which is active. So basically in the training I will use PAN-OS 11.1.6 as well as like whatever the latest version we will get, we will basically use that particular version for our practicals. Sometime because of this also nowadays only the preferred releases we can able to see here, so might be that is the reason. Okay, so from here generally all the software upgrade related tasks we used to perform. Like in my firewall I'm running 11.1.6 h3, so all those things we will do, how we can do the upgrade downgrade, what is the best practice to perform all those tasks. If you will click on check now, it will check. Might be it will not able to check because my DNS server is down right now. Okay, so I don't want to change any type of configuration because of some reason. So I think this it will not able to communicate with the cloud as of now because of this DNS which is down. Okay, so those things I will basically cover in your licensing and software update. Once this particular class will complete, I will move further and I will go towards your account administration, where I will tell you how we can basically do the Active Directory integration with the Cisco Vice using the radius, how we can create different admin roles for L1 engineers, for L2 engineers, for L3 engineers, right? And how we can basically provide the access. Let's say we have one auditor, right? Auditor came for 1 week. Then how we can create a role just for that audit purpose for this auditor, right? So all those things I'll cover in your admin roles. Once this admin part will complete, here basically I will also add couple of stuff like we will see the authentication profile, authentication sequence, all those practicals is also comes under this particular place only. Then I'll move towards your interface configuration, how we can do the configuration of the interfaces using GUI, using CLI, how we can create a different security zones, what is the secure concept of security zones we are having. Then we will discuss what is layer 2 deployment, what is layer 3 deployment, what is virtual wire deployment, what is step mode deployment, and we will do the live practicals for all those type of deployments. So that's how you will get the idea of each and every deployment. And guys, around 99% customer they used to deploy Palo Alto Firewall as layer 3. So we will more focused on the layer 3, but I'll give you some idea about this particular layer 2 virtual wire and tap mode deployment as well. And some of the customer they can also use to deploy in the vWire mode, tap mode I have not seen, and layer 2 also I have not seen. But in the practical labs we will cover that as well. We will discuss the concept of sub interfaces, how we can create a sub interfaces, and also I will show you how we can create a ether channels. Ether channel, or I can say, which is port channel. In Palo Alto Firewall, this concept is known as aggregate interfaces. So then I will tell you how we can able to create those port channel, ether channel, and the aggregate interfaces like I have right now. You can see I have couple of aggregate interfaces. Then I have these aggregate interfaces. Then I have created the sub interfaces over there, right? So we will discuss those particular things. We will also discuss the concept of DHCP, how we can configure Palo Alto Firewall as a DHCP server, how we can configure Palo Alto Firewall as a DHCP client, and how we can configure Palo Alto Firewall as a DHCP relay agent. So those configuration we will do in your Palo Alto Firewall. Then we will discuss how we can configure Palo Alto Firewall as a virtual router. In your Palo Alto Firewall, if we want to configure the routing, then what we have to create the virtual routers. So we will see, I will explain you the concept of virtual routers. Then I will also explain you what is the use case for multiple virtual routers? How we can allow the communication if we have a multiple virtual routers. Like in my current setup also, I have a multiple virtual routers. See, I have a VR like different virtual routers for my outside communication towards the WAN, and I have a different virtual routers for my LAN. Then how we can allow the communication between both WAN and LAN VRs basically. So those topics also we will discuss. Once this particular topic will complete, guys, during the same topic, I will also cover three more topic basically, which is not mentioned here. Three more topics. So let me just tell you what are those topics. So like I will use this particular lab topology basically for complete those topics, and we will discuss the path monitoring. Concept of path monitoring in your Palo Alto Firewall in case of dual ISP setup, right? If one ISP went down, then how we can basically do the route failover. So those practicals we will do with the help of path monitoring. Then we will discuss policy based forwarding. You know the concept of PBR. How many aware about the concept of PBR or the IPSLA? It's a in CCNA we used to learn PBR or IPSLA, right? It's the same concept. It's a similar concept in Palo Alto Firewall. That concept known as policy based forwarding means, let's suppose for this particular segment only, if this segment trying to communicate with this particular segment, then this traffic will go via secondary ISP. If this ISP went down, then it will start flowing through the primary ISP. If you want to achieve those type of requirement here, we can also see here I have just used the source and destination subnets, but we can also use the port numbers for achieving that particular task. So we will discuss the concept of PBF. Then we will discuss concept of ECMP, which is equal cost multipathing. Means let's suppose if my primary link is 100 MB and my secondary link is 50 MB, then what I'll do, I'll configure so my 70% traffic will follow primary link and my 30% traffic will follow secondary link. Those type of stuff also I can able to achieve with the help of ECMP. Here we will see how we can do the ECMP using different ECMP algorithms like round robin, baited based algorithm. Then we have a couple of sticky based algorithm using the hashing modulo. All those particular algorithm we can utilize and we can perform those particular practicals. Once this part will complete, I'll move towards your most important topic of your Palo Alto firewall, which is security. Security policies and your net policies. Here I will tell you how you can basically do the configuration of security policies. I will discuss what is the universal rules, what is intra-zone rules, what is inter-zone rules, how we can create a different type of rules, what are the different component available in your security policies, how we can perform the optimization, right? All those things I will cover in your security policy session, and we will basically create a different type of security policies. Just for example purpose, let me log in here. Let me just show you what type of security rules I will create for different purposes. Like I will create the application based rules. I will create the rules for your URL filterings. I will create the security rules on the basis of usernames, user groups, all those things basically we will cover. Like we can include the source zone, destination zone, source users, like multiple things can be possible. So let me just go here. So if you will see, In this firewall, like I have a these user based policies, right? Where I have defined my if user belongs to HR group, sales group, marketing group, we can have a control over there. What we want to allow, what we want to deny, all those things we can able to choose. Security policy for IPsec VPN, for global protect VPN, right? For user ID agent, for active directory communication, we can block the traffic on the basis of application like file sharing, media streaming, proxy app, risk level 5 application, social networking application, right? We can create a deny rules for the external dynamic list, which is provided by the Palo Alto. Then we have a rule for DNS, ping traffic, trace route traffic. We have a couple of rules who can allow the traffic between inside to DMZ or DMZ to inside. Then couple of rule who can allow the traffic from inside to outside or DMZ to outside, right? Then we will create a cleanup rule. Then we have a default rule. What is the meaning of each of those rules? We will discuss in detail. Then we will use like what type of application is seen by your firewall, right? So those things we will use just to optimize our security policy. Unused applications, log forwarding, all those things we will discuss. I will show you the rule uses and all, right? And also in your security policy, if you will see, we have a different option like how highlight unused rules. What is the default view? What is rule based by text, rule based by group? Well, how we can reset the counters, how we can run the test policy. All those things we will discuss. We will also show you how we can basically move our rule from one location to another location. So all those particular things we will discuss in your security policies. Once your security policies topic will complete, I will basically move towards your net topic. So generally, according to me, basically we only have a two type of net: source net and destination net. Now, in this, with regards to source net, we have a multiple type of nets. Like we have a dynamic net, then we have a dynamic pet, which is your dynamic IP and port, right? Then we have a static net. With regards to destination net, we have a destination net. Then using for both source and destination net, we have a U-turn net. So all those net practicals will be done. Okay, multiple combination of destination net I will do, like one to one mapping, one to many mapping. Then like how we can do the port forwarding as well on your net rules. So all those type of net related practicals we will perform. So generally your policy, security policy, I used to take one class, and for net I used to take two classes because we have a hell lot of concept in the net. So we will discuss all those concept in depth in your net session. Once net will complete, I'll move towards your app ID, app identification. I'll go through with the app ID overview. What is application groups and application filters? In your app ID, I will go through how your Palo Alto firewall do the app identification for TCP based traffic, how Palo Alto do the app identification for UDP based traffic, how we can basically create a custom signature for our internal application, because Palo Alto have a application database for around 4700 applications. But let's suppose you have some internal apps which is used by your organization, then how we can create a custom signature for those apps? Then how we can basically configure the app override policies for those custom app to bypass the app engine, right? So we will do here multiple practical, just as like a simple one class for app ID. And if I can show you here, let me just log in if I can get the access of my whiteboard from here, because I don't want to do anything with this, because this is the one which I will use. Okay, I don't want to log in for now. I'll come back again here. Let me just show you something with regards to your app ID. So you will see app ID here. So if you will see, those are the multiple diagrams I will use, right, to explain the app ID based concept. Application on non-standard ports, like application on clear text or encrypted traffic, application default, what is the meaning of that, application block response page, right, implicit application, application dependency, how application shift happens, what is the protocol decoders, what is the app ID component, how application signature works, how heuristics works, how protocol decoders works, right? So like those app ID overview we will see, then how your TCP packet examined by the app engine, how it will do the app identification, right? Then if why we will get not applicable, incomplete, insufficient data, all those type of blocks, right? So all those things we will discuss. This is for UDP packets. Then what, like how your traditional firewall used to handle the application and all, right? So all those are the practicals which I used to basically perform in your app ID sessions. And let me just go at the end. What other things we are having? Implicit applicant. What do you mean by the implicit? What is the dependencies and all, right? All those things we will cover. SSL decryption, if we don't have, then how it will act, all those things. What is application groups, application filters we will create, right? Nested application groups and filters, moving application based policies, how we can move your normal rules with the application based rules, right? Different type of deployment I will go through with the phases, how application signature works, right? How we will get all those signatures. So all those stuffs I will going to cover basically in your app ID sessions. So those are the practicals and how we can create a custom applications, right? So those are the things we will discuss, and I will use those type of documentation for explaining the concept, what is application override, how it works, right? What is the benefit if we have the app override policies and all, right? So all those things will be covered in your app ID session. So these are the just like around 2 to 3, around 3 hours of sessions where we used to discuss lots of information. Okay, we used to perform lots of practicals as well. Because here just I have put few points. Okay, then I'll move towards your content ID. Very nice topic. In your content ID, basically, I will explain you how we can create antivirus profiles, anti-spyware profiles, vulnerability profiles, URL filtering for your internal traffic, for your external traffic. Okay, so we will create a multiple, like for inbound traffic, for outbound, for internal, then external dynamic list, file blocking, wildfire, all those particular practicals we will do discuss. Then security profile groups, and the most part of those particular topics, I will try to basically download the actual malicious payload, like actual malware, actual virus code from the internet or from my Kali Linux machine, and basically I will show you how my firewall is basically protecting us. Let me just see if I have anything here. But those are the testing which I have done. Like I have downloaded all those type of malicious files. Okay, for virus, for vulnerabilities, and you can see with different severity levels and all. And those files, if you have a Kali Linux machine, I can also explain how you can create. I will give you those commands. Okay, and we will see if those files we will try to download through our firewall, how firewall is acting. Some I will download from the internet, like you can see this IP, this is my internal IP address. Okay, and I am trying to download some files from here. Okay, so those practicals we will do, like around 2 classes I used to take for all those content ID related topics. Once this topic will complete, I'll move towards your, see, content ID, which means your antivirus, anti-spyware and vulnerabilities protection. They can protect you from the virus malwares if they are available at layer 7. Let's suppose somebody is not sending the malicious content, but let's suppose somebody is trying to flood your environment. He want to launch the DOS attack in your environment. How you can protect from those type of flooding attack, like SYN flood attack, UDP flood attack, ICMP flood attack, other IP flood attack. Let's suppose somebody has modified the layer 3 header or layer 4 header. How we can protect from those type of network level attack at the network layer, layer 3, layer 4, how we can protect? So for that, basically, we have to understand the zone protection and DOS protection. And we will discuss, we will do live practicals on zone protection and DOS protection. I will launch the live attack, live flooding attack, and we will see how my firewall is basically providing the protection from those type of stuff, those type of network layer attacks. Once this part will complete, and after it, I'll move towards your SSL decryption. Very nice topic. Here in SSL decryption, I will give you the advanced level explanation of SSL handshake. I'll go through with the certificate management, how certificate stuff works, like how PKI works, what is root CA, what is intermediate root CA, what is the end user certificate, how basically we will authenticate the certificate and all those steps I'll cover. Then I'll basically do the configuration for outbound SSL decryption, which is also known as forward proxy, then inbound SSL decryption, and SSH decryption, because most of the time nowadays people used to launch the attack using the SSH tunnel, and how we can basically provide protection from those type of tunnels, how we can configure the inbound SSL decryption. So whenever anyone from outside, when he's trying to access your servers in DMZ, and if he is trying to send some malicious payload, then my firewall can able to block that type of malicious content. So then in that case, we have to configure the inbound SSL decryption with content ID. So all those particular practicals we will do, because nowadays, guys, whenever you will communicate with the internet as well, right? In internet, if you are communicating with any website, nowadays most of the website they are using HTTPS. And whenever we will use HTTPS, which means we are creating one SSL tunnel between client and that particular server over the internet, right? And whatever data we are exchanging through this tunnel, that data is encrypted. And if we have a firewall in between, there's a high chance my firewall may not able to check that data properly because that data is encrypted. Then we have to configure the outbound SSL decryption. So my firewall can able to decrypt that particular data which is going through this SSL tunnel, and he can do the layer 7 inspection, and he can basically provide us the protection from any type of malicious content or any type of malicious payload or any type of malware virus, or let's say somebody is trying to exploit some type of vulnerabilities using some malicious payload, right? So we will get the protection from those. Okay. Once this part will complete, I'll move towards the most important topic, which is your user identification. Very nice topic. We will discuss how we can create the user to IP mapping, users to group mapping, how we can do the Active Directory integration, users to IP mapping, users to group mapping, how we can use the external user ID agent or the built-in PAN-OS user ID agent to collect this user to IP mapping and the users to group mapping. Then the same mapping, users to group mapping, we can basically use in our authentication profiles. Then those authentication profile we can use in your GlobalProtect. In your when we can create an administrator account as well using those authentication profiles, right? So those things basically we will get. We can also create a security policies on the basis of users and groups. We can utilize that information after that, right? So all those practicals we will do. Once those things will complete, I'll move towards your IPsec site-to-site VPN. In IPsec site-to-site VPN, I go through with your phase 1 exchange process, then your phase 2 exchange process, Okay, I will give you the very advanced level, advanced explanation on phase one and phase two. What is IKE version one? What is IKE version two? What is ISACM protocol? What is ESP protocol? What is AH protocol? What is the tunnel mode? What is transport mode? Right? What is Diffie-Hellman key exchange? Even though what we will do during our troubleshooting class, I'll basically take out those particular keys which are used by the ESP protocol for encrypting your data traffic. In your in your phase one, if we are using IKE version one, then your message number fifth onwards packet will be encrypted. I'll take out the key from Palo Alto Firewall and we will decrypt those messages as well, message number fifth onwards. And when we will decrypt those messages, we will also take out the keys which we are going to use in your ESP protocol for encrypting and hashing your data. Those keys we will utilize and we will decrypt those packets as well in your Wireshark. So we will do all those type of practicals in your IPsec session. Then I have basically mentioned around 13 IPsec use cases as well, like IPsec site-to-site VPN between two Palo Alto firewalls having a static IP, both end using pre-shared key. Then IPsec site-to-site VPN having a static IP at both end using certificates. Then IPsec site-to-site VPN between two firewalls when there is a other end having the overlapping IPs and all, right? So then we have a IPsec site-to-site VPN when one end have the static IP, other have the dynamic IP. Then IPsec site-to-site VPN where one device, one firewall behind your net gateway. Then we have IPsec site-to-site VPN in case of dual ISPs. We can do the failover using tunnel monitoring, static route path monitoring, or using the two virtual routers and the PBF. Then IPsec site-to-site VPN between Palo Alto and Cisco ASA. Then route-based VPN using OSPF protocol. Have any scope type of environment we will create in your IPsec VPN using OSPF. So those particular use cases I will cover in your IPsec training. Once IPsec will complete, I'll move towards your global protect. Very nice topic of your Palo Alto, like Global Protect, which is a remote access VPN solution from Palo Alto. I'll discuss very in-depth details of your Global Protect. I'll go through with the connection flow of your Global Protect, and we will validate that connection flow by running the advanced level debugs in the REST manager daemon, in your AppBap 3 daemon, in your Nginx daemon. We will basically run those type of debugs and we will check the global protect functionality. We will decrypt all your global protect packets as well. Means I will decrypt your SSL or TLS based packets using the Wireshark. And I'll also show you how you can also able to do those things. Then we will discuss global protect connection method. What is user log on demand, then pre-log on, then on demand, pre-log on, then user log on. All those four deployment methods we will discuss in your global protect. And in IPsec and global, I will go through with all the daemons, right? Like what is the key manager daemon, what is IKE manager, what is crypto D, what is tunnel D, all those daemons we will discuss. I'll also show you how you can able to configure the syslog, NetFlow, how we can create a different type of logs, dashboard, basic logging, basic reports. Generally reports I don't cover. I'll just give you one overview of reports. Panorama I will not touch here, guys, in this training because Panorama training is separate. Then I'll cover your active passive high availability, your active high availability, your active passive high availability architecture, your configuration, all those particular practice we will discuss. Then in your active HA, I will do the lab of floating IP, rplot share, mixed mode HA, right? So all those particular practicals we will do with regards to your high availability. Then we will discuss, I'll take one troubleshooting webinar where we will discuss what is packet filter, packet capture, flow basic and TCP dump. And that's how basically we will complete your Palo Alto firewall training. So that is the course content basically of your Palo Alto training. Now If you have any type of questions with regards to the training, with regards to this particular course content and all, this is my number. You can save this number, take the screenshot, and you can reach out to me on this number. I help you with your doubts. So this is our course content, guys. There is some topic which I have not mentioned, but I used to cover, like your port channel, ether channels, those topics I used to cover. Okay. So don't worry, if something is missed, we used to cover those as well. That's not a problem. Okay. Now, now let's come to our today's topic basically. So today just a demo, guys. So I will not grill much on this topic. Okay. So just in 30-35 minutes, I will try to finish this particular SP3 architecture. Generally, it's a little bit big topic of 1 hour somewhere or 90 minutes something. But let me just cover what is SP3 architecture. So this particular question in your interviews they will ask in different way. What sometimes they will ask, can you explain the SP3 architecture? Sometimes they will ask, what is the architecture of Palo Alto Firewall? Sometimes they will ask, what is parallel processing in Palo Alto? What is single pass in Palo Alto? So like they will ask that question in this way. So now let me start. This SP3 architecture means SP3 stand for this first S equals to single pass software. And the second P is parallel processing hardware. So SP3 stand for single pass software and parallel processing hardware. Now, let's try to understand what is this parallel processing hardware of your Palo Alto Firewall. Okay, so guys, let me increase the size a little bit here. Now let's try to understand what do you mean by this SP3. So guys, I hope this diagram is visible to everybody properly. Just write on the chat if it's visible properly. No. Here basically if you will see, this is the Palo Alto Firewall hardwares basically. So in Palo Alto Firewall we have a two component. We have a management plane, which is also known as control plane, and we have a data plane. Those are the two hardware level segregation. Means management plane is separate and your data plane is separate. Now you can ask, what is management plane? So in your Palo Alto Firewall, basically your management port, your HA1 port, those are the part of your management plane. And this management plane is responsible for configuration management, your report management, and your log related task, logging management. Those are the three tasks which is done by the management plane majorly. Okay. This particular control plane, it has a dedicated hardware, means it has a dedicated RAM, dedicated SSD, and dedicated hard disk. Means this management plane has a dedicated resources to operate. It is not having any type of dependency on the resources which we have at the data plane. It has a dedicated resources. So this is the one benefit we will be having. They have a segregation at the hardware level. We have a management plane and we have a separate data plane. Now this data plane, they have further divided into three another planes. This data plane, they have further divided into three another planes. Guys, do you know what is data plane? Data plane is the hardware module in your box who can basically process the traffic which is initiated by the client towards the servers. It will process the data. It will basically process the data which is initiated by the client towards the server. Means this is the plane who is going to process your users data. This is the plane who will do the processing of users data. Okay, now this data is further divided into three planes. First is network processor, second is your security processor, and third one is your signature match processor. And you know those particular processors, they have a dedicated RAM, they have a dedicated CPU, means they are the dedicated hardware chips. These are the dedicated hardware chip or hardware ASIC who can basically have the enough resources for performing different tasks parallelly. Means those particular processors, they can basically work parallelly. Means network processor can process the packet, security processor is also processing the packet at the same time. At the same time, your layer 7 processor is also processing the packet. Means those particular processor, they are running in parallel way. They are not having any type of resource level dependency. There is no resource level dependency. Means that is known as the parallel processing hardware. First segregation they have at the management plane, at the data plane, and after that their data plane is further divided into three another planes. And now these three another planes can do the tasks separately. They are not having any type of resource level dependency. One more benefit you will get. Let's suppose has somebody has launched the DDoS attack. Somebody has launched the DDoS attack in your data plane. Then your control plane or management plane is safe. You can able to log in your device and you can take necessary actions. You can configure the necessary security postures over there who can basically prevent your firewall from DOS attack. Let's suppose some of the processes or daemons which are a part of your data plane, they are not working properly. Then you can restart your data plane. We can restart the data plane. We don't need to reboot the entire firewall. From management plane, we can reboot any of the process. We can reboot the data plane. In your management plane, basically, if let's suppose you have a issue with the login, when you are trying to access the GUI, you are not able to do that. Then you can also able to restart the management server daemon who is responsible for web UI of your firewall. Let's suppose there is a issue with the commit, then you can restart your management server. Let's suppose there is an issue with the log service, then you can start the log daemon, right? Log related daemon. So those are the benefit basically we will be having because all those daemons, they are running in your management plane. We can restart those services separately. Let me just show you what are those services. So when you will go into your firewall, when you will type so system software status, you can see those are those daemons here. Those are the daemons like satellite Ds for satellite VPN. If you have a problem with the routing, then route D you have to restart. If you have a problem with SSH, then SSHD. SSL manager for your S certificate related stuff. This is for Nginx, sysd agent, system daemon. System daemon is the mother daemon of all your daemons. Then tunnel D. Tunnel D is the daemon which is running in your data plane. So I will explain you which daemon used to run in your data plane, which daemon is a part of management plane. Then user ID daemon, where receiver, web server daemon, right? REST manager, if there is a problem with your with regards to your global protect, then we have to restart this REST manager. If manager for interface, IKE manager for IPsec VPN, key manager that this daemon used to maintain your keys. Let's suppose you are not getting the response pages, then L3SBC process we have to restart. If there is a problem with the log, then we have to restart the log receiver daemon, right? So we have a multiple daemon. If there is any problem, then with the HA, then we have to restart the HA agent. If there is a problem with the secure communication between both the HAs, then we have to restart the HASHD HASHD daemon, right? So multiple daemons are there and we can able to restart those. Okay. So those are the process which I am talking about now. Now, guys, let me just extend my discussion a bit and let me just explain you the data path of your Palo Alto firewall. So, if you will see this particular diagram, there is some changes. So I have taken this diagram from Palo Alto firewall 5200 series box. So in your 5200 series box, basically, this is the data path. This particular diagram basically denotes the data path of your Palo Alto Firewall 5200 series box. Now, in the data path, basically, at the very first step, you have your interfaces. Here you have a couple of copper ports. You have a SFP ports. You have a QSFP ports, right? You have a port with 1 GB link, 10 GB link, 25 GB link, and 40 GB link, right? Now, those particular interfaces, they have a direct connectivity with one of the hardware chip, which is known as Qumran chip. Okay. And if I will, oh, I'll take 5,000 later. Okay. No, not now. Okay. I'll take a 5,000 as well. Okay. Now, those interfaces, they have a connectivity with the Qumran chip. Now, this Qumran chip has a direct connectivity with one more chip, which is known as FE100. This is known as network processor, which means in our SP3 architecture, you have seen this particular processor, networking processor. This processor is known as your FE100. This is the FE100. And guys, this FE100 is a network processor. It is also known as FPGA or ASIC. And we will use this particular processor as a session offloader. This processor is also known as a session offloader. What is how it works, I will cover not now in your live session offloading and all. Then this particular FE100 chip have a direct connectivity with one more chip, which is known as Octeon chip. And in your 5200 series box, we have a 3 Octeon chip. And this is also known as your data plane CPU, DP0, DP1, and DP2. And those are the multi-core CPUs. It's a multi-core CPU. Means multiple cores are available in your CPU. And guys, your actual parallel processing hardware basically applied for those type of boxes like 5200 box, 5400 series box, 7000 series boxes, because they have a multiple CPUs. Now when we receive a packet, might be first packet processing is happening here, maybe another packet processing happening here, another process packet happening here, means all those three packets, they are processed at the same time by the firewall. Let's say we have a user one here like PC 1, 2, 3. When those three PC, they will try to communicate, maybe PC1 packets handled by this, PC2 packet handled by DP1, or packet PC3 packets handled by DP2. Means all those packets getting processed simultaneously in parallel way at the same time. That is the actual parallel processing hardware, guys. And in your high-end boxes, see in this diagram, because this is just a general diagram. Okay, this is a general diagram. Here they have just mentioned security processor. But in actual, this is known as Octeon chip. And in high-end boxes, we have here 3 processors. And this processor, your security processor and network processor, can able to understand your layer 2 information, Layer 3 information and layer 4 information means they can read your layer 2 header, layer 3 header, which is your IPv4, IPv6, your GRE header, right? And layer 4, which is your TCP, UDP, ICMP, all those type packets, they can able to read. Your ESP comes here as well, ESPH, all those type of headers. My security processor and networking processors can able to read, and they can able to do the processing. Now you can ask one question, then who will basically handle your layer 7 task, which means your app ID, app identification and content ID. Because content identification, those are the layer 7 tasks. So you know this content engine or signature match procedure is responsible for app ID and content ID related task. This is the dedicated hardware processor we are having for app ID and content ID related task. And you know, on top of this content ID processor, we have a one algorithm called AHO, DFA. Nowadays, AHO has been replaced with the PSCAN. Those are the algorithm which runs on top of this content ID, and they will do your app ID and content ID related task. Content ID includes your antivirus, anti-spyware, vulnerability protection, your wildfire protection, your file policy, your URL filtering, all those tasks include here. So your layer 7 is handled separately, right? And you know guys, one more thing here. See, in high-end boxes, we are not having only the single signature match procedure. We have a dual signature match procedure, and the chip name is known as CE100. This is the name of that particular chip. And you know, all those chips, they have connected with high speed fiber links. Those are the high speed fiber links, and those links is known as joy links. Those are the high speed fiber links. So your data will move here and there. There's a proper communication. They used to add a header when your FE100 will hand over the packet to your Octeon chip. When Octium will hand over some data, some layer 7 content to signature match procedure. So they will add their respective headers and all, which is built, which is basically the Palo Alto specific headers, okay, just for delivering that particular data between those particular components, okay. Now, one more thing I want to cover, guys. This is the data path of your old diagram. This is the data path of your old diagram in your old boxes, like your 3000 series box, your 5000 series box. What they used to have a marble chip here. They used to have a marble chip, which basically connects all your copper ports. They and all your SFP plus port used to have a connectivity with the Petra chip. Then this Marvel and Petra chip, they used to have a connectivity with your network processor. So in high-end boxes, we used to have a Tiger chip. In low-end boxes, we used to have a Liger chip. It was a FPGA. So this was your network processor, and this network processor will have a connectivity with your data plane CPU, where we have a Octeon chip, and this particular data plane CPU will further have a connectivity with your Jaguar chip, which is responsible for app ID and content ID, DFA algorithm, and AHO algorithm. Nowadays, it's a PSCAN algorithm, okay, which will perform both of those tasks. Now, that is the data path for old diagram. I'll just come here. Now you can see in this diagram, as I have mentioned, we have a management plane, and this plane have a dedicated CPU, dedicated RAM, dedicated SSD, dedicated management port M0x0, and dedicated console port, and your HA1 interface is also a part of this management plane only. This management plane is responsible for your configuration management, means we will take the GUI access or the CLI access. Then we will connect with the management only, and we will make all the configuration changes. Your logging and reporting is also a part of your management plane only, because this has a dedicated hardware resources. So it is not having any type of dependency on data path. Like let's suppose your data path is overutilized, then your management functionality will not impact. If your management plane is overutilized, then your data plane functionality will not impact. So that type of segregation basically Palo Alto have done. They have a parallel processing hardware, like provides configuration, logging and reporting functions on a separate processor, RAM and hard drive. That is your management plane. Then your data plane again further divided into three another planes. We have already seen the data path for that. Network processor, security processor and signature match processor. So here we have a FE100, CE 400. Those are the Intel chip only basically, which is designed especially for your Palo Alto network devices. A network processor, it can, as I mentioned, it can able to perform read layer 2, layer 3 and layer 4 information, which means it can do the flow control, MAC lookup, route lookup, QoS and net, all those tasks network processor can able to do. But network processor is a session offloader, means network processor will not process all the packets. All packet processing will be done by the security processor. But my security processor, if he has offloaded some traffic from here to here, then after that all your tasks done by the network processor. And what type of packet generally your security processor used to offload? Let's suppose let's suppose we are receiving some type of traffic. That traffic we don't want to send for app identification and content identification, then those type of traffic it used to offload here. Because even though that traffic will not go here as well, because app id and content id traffic used to go till here, till this point, this procession. Okay, so in session offloading I will tell you how it can manage. There's a IAGR process, multiple things are there. Okay, now, and after that we have security processor which can able to per app id is wrong, it will just enforce the application based policy. Let me just correct here. It will enforce app id based rules, user id based rules, url match, policy match, ssl task done by this particular engine, and compression task is also done by this particular processor only. Okay, and it will perform your layer 3 and layer 4 task along with layer 2. Signature match processor, it will do app ID and content ID like scanning of exploits, virus, spywares, command and control, all those tasks done by this particular data plane, which is signature match processor. Okay. Now, one more thing I wanted to tell you. If you will see here, some details I have written. Your network processor is a network processor. It is a offloader processor, FPGA, S6, EZ chip, security processor. Here we have a CPU, we have a multi-core processor, and sometimes you will see the KVM chip or the Octeon chip. Then we have a hardware offload as well, network processor or pattern match processor. So offloading, generally this is the chip which used to perform the offloading. Signature match processor we have for your layer 7 task, which is app ID and content ID. With regards to the packet processing, okay, so your packet processing used to change according to our requirement and all. Now what we have here, so guys, this is all about your parallel processing hardware. Okay, the if I will just summarize the parallel processing hardware, which means you can simply say in your Palo Alto devices we have a separate management plane which have a separate hardwares like RAM, CPU, and SSD. Then we have a separate data plane, and that data plane has a is further divided into three another planes: network processor, security processor, and signature match processor. And now those processors, they have their separate resources, separate tasks or functions to perform, and they can able to perform all those tasks in parallel way. Okay, that is known as parallel processing hardware, guys. That is known as your parallel processing hardware. Now let's try to understand what is the single pass software. So to explain the single pass software, I will basically I can draw something here. So guys, what used to happen generally in the single pass software? See, single pass software basically applied at your content ID. It is applied at your content engine level. Single pass software thing. Okay. What used to happen? Let me draw a wheel here like this. So guys, let's suppose this is your signature match procedure. This is your signature match procedure. In old boxes, it's a Jaguar chip. In new boxes, it's a CE400 chip. Now this signature match processor, it has a multiple RAMs basically. Multiple RAMs are available. Multiple RAM is available. Okay. So what used to happen when basically when your when your data plane CPU, it will hand over the layer 7 information to this particular signature match processor. What it used to do, it used to store that information into those particular memory locations. It used to store that information into those mentioned memory locations. It has stored, let's suppose it has stored that layer 7 data into that particular, those particular memory locations. Okay, those are known as DRAM. Now, on this particular Jaguar chip, basically, as we know, it is responsible for your app ID. So here we have a application signatures. Here we have a URL filtering feeds. Here we have a antivirus signatures. Here we have a spyware signatures. Here we have a vulnerability protection signatures. Here we have a wildfire signatures. Okay, this is your vulnerability signatures. All those signatures are available inside this particular Jaguar chip in different way. Now what used to happen? See, we have received that particular packet which is stored into those memory locations. Now this packet got processed. Basically, it will process by the app engine. It will process by the URL filtering. It will process by the AV. It will process by the spywares. Means those signature got smashed just in one go. Your packet receive, store, and get processed against all your layer 7 databases for antivirus signatures, spyware signatures, vulnerability signatures, wildfire signatures, URL filtering, app identification. All those things it will processed, and what it will do, it will basically reply the results to your DPCPU. According to the result, DPCPU will enforce the action. It will enforce the action. Enforce the action means it will enforce the security policy match. And if, let's suppose, Let's suppose there is a flag for antivirus flag is triggered, means this payload has some type of virus. Then what it will do, whatever the action we have defined in your security policies, my firewall DPCP will take that action and it will just drop that packet and it will update the session as a discard. State of the session, it will change to discard. Okay, so here if you will observe, your packet is came once only into the chip. It has we have stored the information to the RAM, and your packet just get processed once with against all the signature database. So this is a single pass software, means just in single go processing has been completed, means your layer 7 processing has been completed, means processing with regards to your app ID and content ID is completed just in one go. We are not adding the packets multiple times into the signature match procedure. We are not feeding that packet multiple times. We have just feed this packet once and it will get processed right away in single go. That is known as your single pass software. Okay. So guys, this is the topic which I wanted to discuss with regards to your demo. Now let me come back again. Now guys, let me just tell you who has joined a little bit late. So this particular batch, I'm starting from 28th of June. Timing is 4 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. IST. It's a weekends batch. Duration of this particular, so in weekends, I'll take on Saturday and Sunday. And duration of this particular training is total 9 to 10 weekends. Fees for this particular training is 7,000 for Indian students and 150 USD for international students. If you are really interested for this particular training, you can save those two numbers. First number belongs to me and second number belongs to Bidit sir. You can reach out to us on those numbers. If you are really interested for this training, if you have any queries with the training, you can let us know. We will help you with your doubts and with your queries. Now let me start the Q&A part. So let me first stop the recording.